Please understand. They asked me what I could see. They inferred that I was blind. I said, look, you've really got it wrong. I didn't mean to be unkind. It's like a missing part that fell out of my head. They laughed at me as if I joked or misheard what I said. How can I explain to you the air that I inhale? Or the force that pins me down when I'm blasted by a gale? So how then can you comprehend the different way I see? I wished that I could tell them exactly what I mean, or even better show them by projecting on a screen. Then perhaps they'll understand and not treat me like I'm 3. I've been working in special needs for most of my working life, and I recently retired from full-time work, but I still have a massive passion for children with special needs and helping them, and I've built up a lot of knowledge over the years that I'd like to share and pass on. But I want to start today just by introducing myself and a little bit of what this channel is going to be about, and hopefully as the time goes on you will enjoy it and subscribe and interact and give feedback, and maybe I'll get some more parents to talk on this channel and talk about their situation, and that'll help you. First thing is, my name's Maurice Sparrow, and I spent most of my working life working in London among children with disabilities, and helping parents and helping families and helping children, supporting children, and doing training sessions to raise awareness with teachers. And it's my passion, it's always been my passion, and I just love doing it. I have a really instinctive interest in the subject. I worked as a mainstream teacher before that and encountered many children in my experience who had difficulties with learning, who didn't fit into the normal pattern of learning and the normal classroom situation. And incidentally, during that time I didn't meet many children with sensory impairments, because by and large, when I was teaching mainstream, they were not in the mainstream, and that introduced us to one of the big changes that took place, where children with special needs, visual impairments, hearing impairments, and all sorts of other things were included in the mainstream. And so it put an extra burden on teachers to learn and to raise awareness, and also on the children themselves, not just the children with the disabilities but other children in their classes, to try and understand them, because it's not easy if you have a child with a lot of difficulties in the class, because they won't go out and tell you what their problems are. You just have to live with it, and you have to sort of understand it. But today I want to start off today by just introducing one of my passions, and that is a subject called CVI. Let me go right in the deep end today. These sessions will only be no more than 10 minutes, and I want to talk about something that actually I kind of shared with CVI Scotland a couple of years ago, and they took it on board and have promoted it, and it's the subject of minimalism. Now, if you know anything about minimalism, it's actually goes back a long way, but I'm an advocate of minimalism, especially when it comes to the learning of our children in our classrooms. In 1913, there was a painting of a simple black square on white background, and the artist was Kazimir Malevich. That painting has become very famous over the years. It was very new, and it contrasted very starkly with the decorative styles out of which he came, and it paved the way for something called minimalism, or the minimalist movement in the 20th century. And this movement touched many areas of art. Sculpture, painting, had large, bold and simple shapes which replaced the elaborate and intricate designs of previous artistic works. Even in music, this movement was characterized by repetitive, short phrases. In books and poetry, it was characterised by snappy statements, brief statements that replaced the very decorative language, the flowing language of the previous century. If you strip a classroom to its bare essentials, it can actually create an environment that's calming and focused so that children can concentrate much better. And really, if you think about it, removing what you don't really need, what's superfluous, enables what's important to stand out. Of course, the trouble is that there are many conflicting needs in classrooms, and there's resources. Where do you put resources? There's workbooks, there's equipment, there's displaying, as I've said, and celebrating children's work, all very important. And to demonstrate the outcomes or to illustrate key words and concepts. There's nothing wrong with that. It's very important, but is it really good for the children? And then again, many of us teachers, if you're anything like me, we are incurable hoarders. And our lives and our workplace and our homes and our rooms, our studies are full of clutter. It's the world we live in and the world we're used to. It takes a big effort to change the habits of a lifetime, and many people are nowadays finding that decluttering is liberating and helps them to create a fresh start. There's even programs about decluttering where people take on board other people's clutter and go into the house and remove it. I've seen these programs. It's quite an eye-opener. But what are the children, the CVI children, the ones with cerebral visual impairments who are in the special school? They're the ones who will most benefit from this approach. But here again, it's not easy. There are many challenges because of the heavy equipment, the hoists, the beds, the wheelchairs, the objects of reference, everything that necessarily goes with a child with SLD, a child in a special school who is non-ambulant or has difficulty walking. The question is, are these children progressing as well as they could? Or is the whole environment that they're in too cluttered, too full? Can they see the wood for the trees? So the question I want to ask today is this: how can we create the best environment for the child with CVI in particular? Think about your room. Toys strewn over the floor create clutter. A child can only play with one toy at a time. Why have more than one on show? The only reason I can think of is you may be giving your child options or encouraging choosing, in which case let the child choose and put the other one away. With CVI, a child may not see many things easily at once. In the nursery, one activity I observed is emptying the box of Lego and construction toys out onto the carpet. Our CVI child is likely to find this really overwhelming. I remember a scene many years ago now as I visited a family in Mum's front room, and a little boy was sat on the floor with 3 toys placed in front of him. He stared blankly as if he couldn't make sense of anything. Mum took away one, leaving 2 toys, and he continued to stare blankly. Then Mum took away another toy, leaving just 1. And the reaction was immediate. He looked and he reached for the toy straight away. Now that was either a big coincidence or a dramatic demonstration of the power of minimalism, the power of 1. Put only 1 toy in front of the child and he can make sense of it. Less is more. If you can't strip the room to bare essentials, try keeping at least the front wall and the teaching area clear. And I'm talking about a classroom, and I know how hard that is, having taught myself for many years. But avoid, say you've got a monitor or TV screen, as many classrooms have. Don't stick cards or labels to the outside of the screen or a whiteboard. Try switching off the front light and dimming the lights. Space each display item with a good space in between so there's a gap. Make displays large and contrasting. Keep the workspace clear. For focus work, have a dedicated corner or cupboard that's plain and uncluttered. The storage of toys should be neat and perhaps covered by a curtain maybe. Each object of reference could have its own box in a cabinet and this could also be covered by a curtain. So what does this mean in conclusion? Minimalism for the CVI child means creating a world where only one thing is allowed to be the focus of attention all the time. Make that one thing pop out so it is obvious by using bold contrasts, large details and recognisable shapes. By following the example of Malevich's radical black square on white, we can make the world of some of our CVI children a more meaningful place. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And please, if you haven't done already, subscribe to the channel, as it all helps, and give me feedback or ask any questions and I'll try to answer them. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.